What is going on, amazing people? Welcome back to Adobe Live. I am here, your wonderful, amazing host, Brandon Groce, here to bring some awesome things to you guys and do some awesome things with you guys for our first day of the Daily Creative Challenge. My ear is so happy it keeps pushing out my earbud. That aside, I'm glad to have you guys here. We're not going to get cut off today, so we're going to get into some nice nitty gritty, show you guys who are new how to get into these challenges, as well as how to get started. So let's move in. First off, I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. We have Henry, Laura. We have Nusheen, Fergie. Glad to see you guys. Glad to be back with you again. Now, moving into the challenge for this week. For those of you who are new, move on either to the URL down in the description if you want to join the challenge, or just get, yes, that's what we're here to do for the next 2 weeks. This week's, or rather the next 2 weeks challenges are from the March 29th to April 23rd. It's going to be a super fun, exciting time. The theme is web design, and we have quite the journey to go through these next 2 weeks. All right, so for those of you who are new, how do we get into all this stuff? Where's the challenge going to be? How do we get the started files? Or the starter files. First off, those who are new to the community, very simply on that landing page, which you can get through the link in the description. Mods probably have, Sam has the links for you coming up so you guys can join us with what we're going to be doing today. But first things first, join the community so you can create and get feedback from your lovely creatives in the design community, XD community. Just very quick, for those of you who are new, we have quite a few categories here, but very simple. We have the announcements where you get all the updates of when things like today or this very moment are going to happen. You have community info, feedback, advice if you need help from one of the lovely mentors or other design peeps on the server, as well as your general chat. So, with that said, for the challenges that we'll be doing the next 2 weeks, you'll be submitting along with the other amazing creatives that will be working alongside you and me the next 2 weeks in the feedback section within challenges. You obviously can submit anything else, whether it be other designs, portfolios, or just past challenges. But for the next 2 weeks, with moi, submit your stuff in challenges as each day goes by. All right, and last thing before we get started, we are doing on-page scroll. That's what our focus is today. We're going to be designing and prototyping an on-page scroll animation for a promotional landing page using timed triggers. We have a lot to get into this today, ladies and gentlemen, which is why my tongue is slapping the top and the bottom of my mouth, so we can very quickly get into what we need to today. So once again, if you're just popping in, hello. Yes, we don't want the band hammer, guys. If you want to get started and join and get the starter file, just hit get started here and you will get what appears to be this wondiferous but a cleaner version of what we see in front of us right now. You'll get a beautiful one sheet, what the challenge prompt is. There'll be a couple things that are missing. You notice I have a couple filled out things. We couldn't give you all the assets because legal things. But if you guys want to grab assets, watches, things of that nature, and you want to have PNGs, don't worry, I got you. Just very quickly go to imagebin.com. Today we're using an amazing asset from Rungweno55. Probably not their real name, but thank you very much for letting us use this amazing piece that we're going to use in our design today. All right, so let's show you a little bit of a taste of what you guys will learn today, and hopefully what you guys might be able to put together for this week's or today's challenge. So everything that you see here, we are going to learn the concept of how you guys can do this as well. I'm not even touching my keyboard, but in Adobe XD, we can do on-page scroll animations and have amazing things like this happen on screen, just like this. Henry, my background is real. I'm just I'm in a different world, But we're gonna learn some pretty cool stuff like this today, so let's hop in. We've made our time limit, 5 minutes. That's pretty good intro, right guys? Very nice. So let's hop in. Some of you guys in the might be like, all right, how do we get from that or get to that from this? It's super simple. So most of your guys' artboards will start off like this. All you have to do is just cut out another watch, very simply, or just for the sake of just following along, if you are, this is what we're gonna do. So step one, we are just going to pull our artboard down, because the first things first, we're gonna focus on animation. So I'm gonna brush through a lot of the basic things just to get you guys to the auto animation, and then we'll slow down and talk through things if you guys have questions. Brandon working overtime today. Yes, guys, my tongue is. But let me know in the chat if you guys want me to slow down at a certain point and to answer any questions. But we're going to get through what we need to today. All right. First things first, I'm going to draw a rectangle. We need to have our white background. As you guys know, the first animation that has happened in this part is we have a scroll up and we have a conjoining of the watches, and the background where there's my last name Groce kind of comes into play, kind of animates into place. So we're gonna focus on that. Yeah, my tongue kind of feels like it's on rocket fuel, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm gonna grab first is, this is kind of how I broke it down. So I had the full watch. I basically pulled it into Photoshop, cut out around, I didn't want the tops and the bottoms. So I got this out of it, and then I cut it in half, and then found another watch that just had the interior. If you guys want to see that process, we have a little bit more time, we can go into that, but today is strictly how to master that auto animate and scrolling animation. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take that, plop it in the center of my white background here. And what we're gonna do, if you guys are new to Adobe XD, what we want to think about in regards to auto animate is the before and after. So what we want to have happen is we're starting here, right? And the next scene is a scroll up, right? So what we're gonna do is, even before we actually duplicate, some of you might have tried something like pulling your imagery, your assets outside of the artboard, and it actually just gets pulled off the artboard. What we're gonna do to avoid that is we're gonna just make one whole big group. And for those of you who are asking, well, how does this help with prototyping? The real reason that we're teaching this today is because some people do the stuff that you just saw in After Effects, and that takes a lot of time, a little keyframing, but we can get the same result in XD in less time and still have it look really cool. So that's what we're focusing on today. All right, so I'm just gonna select all of this. We have the white background, we have this whole entire thing, we have one whole bit here. I'm gonna group it, I'm gonna duplicate it. Now I can move this up without anything falling off the artboard. Pretty simple, right? Sam says, I forgot to mention that to load the starter files, you'll require to update XD. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there should never be a time where your XD is not updated. There's so much beautiful features in there. You don't want to miss that. So the first animation that we're going to focus on here is that coming together of the watch, this centerpiece and this watch. So I have two pieces here, and like I said, I have them grouped already. You don't have to have them grouped, but it helps. I'm gonna pull, basically, let's think about this. Let's go through the thought process first. I want this to end in this combination, but I want it to come together. So I'm gonna pull this away, and I'm gonna turn the opacity down. So this is honestly the first animation, and this is how we're gonna put it together. Hey, what's going on, Diego? Welcome to Adobe Live, the XD Daily Creative Challenge, day number 1. All right, so we're gonna go to prototype, and we're gonna take this little beautiful blue line, we're gonna connect it to our second artboard, and very simply, we're just gonna say time to trigger. We want our trigger to be time. We don't want to have to click anything, we just want it time. Delay, I'm gonna increase this not to 1 second, but to 3 seconds, so that basically what that's gonna do is the home or this portion, it's just when we press play on the prototype will chill for 3 seconds, then do the animation we want it to. Make sure that you are not on transition. Make sure you switch it to auto animate. That our destination is the correct artboard. You can also look at your arrow here. You switch the easing to whatever awesome animation piece we want here. I'm just gonna do snap because we snappy. And we want the duration to be 3 seconds, but I think we can pull it up to like 4. And we're just gonna test it. We're just gonna see what this does very quickly. And if this works out, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to hit the like button because we got some awesome things here the next 2 weeks. All right, so boom, 3 seconds. There you go. Pretty simple, a little slow, but the prototype journey is all about seeing, did it work first, and then go back and iterate. So why I wanted to get to this first is because that concept is the only concept that we're going to use for everything that we have in here. All right, so that is the concept of how we get the animating, the on-page animation for anything we want to. First things to remember is you want to group the entire page so you can actually move up. Actually just scroll that or literally move that entire group up the page without anything having to be clicked, anybody having to scroll. It's just the way that it looks to present how something should function on scroll. All right. I see that you guys are trying to already get me shirt says because I'm snappy. I appreciate it. All right, so with that, let's move on to these next pieces. So I'm just I'm gonna cheat here. And I'm gonna pull in my last name, these letters here. And I don't think we can see that, so, and it's because my background color is not the right color. I'm gonna move that to gray rather than just straight white. And I'm going to take this group of letters. I'm gonna go inside my group here, and I'm gonna make sure, these are my letters. I'm gonna make sure it is underneath all of my assets there. Okay, same thing. We want a before and an after. We have to think in before and after. If I want my letters to be in this sort of arrangement, when we get here, I'm gonna put, so this is what I'll do before I start running my mouth. All right, so let me copy my letters. Okay, I'm gonna put them into place here, where I want them. And also need to make sure they are in the correct arrangement on the plane. So basically I'm saying, okay, XD, when we go from A to B, I want you to end my letters in this position. Great. But look, we don't have an animation. We basically just have this is what we have now. We just have a scroll and a cool watch coming in like that. We can do better. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move some of these letters here. So we want to say, hey, we're gonna end up in this scenario, but let's do some really cool animations here though. Let's move the G down. We can stagnate some of these. Move the R really far down. Move the O super far down. If I can grab this C, I'm just gonna grab it, my layers. I'm just gonna use my keyboard to move it. And you see how, because this whole thing is grouped, I just wanna show you that. You see that blue line, how it moved? And because it's in a group, as long as I keep one thing in that group on the artboard, everything else that comes off the artboard stays on the artboard. So let's take a look at this. So I moved all these things. So I'm saying, hey, letters start here in a weird format and then snap to this endpoint. So let's take a look at what we got. Start. Awesome. And we also need to fix the timing. Scrolls down. There we go. So there was a nice little undulation of how those things moved into place. However, Was it slow? Yes. So let's fix that. We're gonna go to prototype. We're gonna bring this down from 4 seconds to about like, what are you guys smelling? 2.5? I think that smells delicious enough. Let's see how it cooks. We're gonna hit play. Boom. There we go. Piece by piece, ladies and gentlemen. Same concept, new assets. That's all we have to think about. Okay? Before and after. And if we wanted to, we are only doing one scroll today, but you would repeat the same concept over and over as you add different layers. We'll add 2 more pieces of the puzzle here. We're gonna start adding text. And as we do that, I'm actually going to elongate this background here and do the same thing over here. I just want to make sure. I'm going to turn off the border on this background here. It's one thing I missed. Slowly I turn, step by step. Exactly, Mike. All right. So next, we're going to pull in some text. And what I want to happen is, let's see. Let's think about this really quick. So what I want to happen is initially, I would like the gross basically to pop in. And let's say I don't want anything to kind of come into view, so to speak. But let's say on the next iteration, I do want something to come in. Let's see, we're at 17. Let's see what we can do, guys. I want to think through this. So let's see, we're here, boom, the watch comes in. The next thing we'll have come in is words. I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm gonna pull this up to right about here. Actually, let's do this. We're gonna do this even more easily. So we're gonna delete this because we're gonna make changes over here. We're gonna pull this up to about here. And I'm gonna get this other section here. I'm gonna paste this in just like that. So I want to do from here, I'm gonna bring this over here as well. I know I'm skipping through a lot of things. I'll explain it in just a moment. I just wanna set everything up and then I can explain as it's happening. So what is happening here is we have, let's play this. Let's do the quick prototype. So we have, boom, it scrolls. We have the background, our watch coming in, and our first portion of text. Great. The next step we want to have is the next version of the scroll. How does that work? So we're gonna take this, we're gonna duplicate it, and what we're gonna do next is we're gonna keep the watch there, but these other 2 pieces, we're just gonna very simply move these up into place, just like this. And we're gonna prototype it. Boom. Very simply, just pick whip it. I think that's the term. I think that's an After Effects term, but same thing applies here. We're just gonna take the blue arrow, drag it to where it needs to go. All right, so let's see what it does. And we have the delay. We don't want to delay necessarily. We'll do about 1.5 seconds so it can stick on the page for a little bit. But let's go through and we'll talk you through it. Boom, everything comes in very nicely. Takes another second. There you go. But you see how easy that stuff is? We don't have to think too much when we're doing on-page animation. We just have to get things into view. And we honestly, I would just say you press play, but it's that simple concept that we began with. Keep things into groups, understand what you want to keep in view and what you want to fade in and off of the screen. All right, and we have about 7 minutes here, guys. So I'm gonna just do some very small touches, but if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat. So up next, what we really could do, I'm just gonna pull any of these things, whether it be images. I'm just gonna grab this entire bit here. And I'm just gonna bring them here. All right, simple thing to remember is what you want in view, or excuse me, to get that scroll effect, you need to have the majority of what you're scrolling in a group so things don't fall off your artboard. For example, this isn't grouped, so this is gonna fall off. So I'm gonna group all my images, boom, no longer off. And remember, we need to think about before and after. And the great thing about this is that, again, do not think that what we are doing right now is a prototype that you are sending to UX test 9. Like, that is not it. That will be like, this is the part after you have already created that, and you're now creating a animated display of how your on-page scroll should work. Hope that clarifies. Samuel says, never seen a designer wear a nice tie. Well, it's here, and it's here to stay. So honestly, what I can do, because what is under here really doesn't matter, I can just pull this in, center it, and what we're gonna do here is we're gonna turn the opacity down on that because it really doesn't matter there, but on the next screen here, it matters. So I'm gonna take all these bits, these 3 groups, group 1, group 2, group 3, and I'm just gonna scroll it up. Boom. Now, some of you guys might be saying, and it's true, this was not one of the things that we grouped. So we're gonna have to do a little trick here. And we have about 5 minutes, so I'm gonna see what I can do. So I'm just gonna move this off to the edge and do like a little quick dirty trick. I'm just gonna turn the opacity down because I forgot to group it early on, but it's okay. Did it in the first one that you saw, no one's gonna die. All right, 1, 2, we're gonna keep this scrolling up. And we can leave this here. These other photos, however, we're just gonna push to the back, behind, or maybe we need to put this in the group. Yeah, there we go. So we actually need to go inside of here, put our photos inside of the group, and put our photos behind the watch. That part I did forget. So what I will need to do is I need to go back. And we have like 2 minutes here, guys, so I might not be able to show everything. I'm gonna try to do this very quickly. Let's see if I can do it in like 3 minutes. Highly doubt it. Is that behind? All right, cool. All right, well, let's check this out. Let's see how far we've come so far. I highly doubt that this last portion will actually pan out, but we'll see. But this is 30 minutes. You have the core piece of what you need to put something delicious like this together. We have part 1, part 2, and this next part is just gonna like throw up. Yeah, basically. And for those of you who were like, why did that last part just like pop up? It was because my layers weren't named correctly. We do have about, we still have like 4 minutes. I don't wanna run too deep into fixing this problem and get shut down like yesterday. So we have group 229, 228. There we go. That's the problem. I think this should fix it. Layer names are muy importante. I think that's like 3 different languages that I use. Scrolls, very nice. Like button if you dig what we've done here today. This is probably where we're gonna close out. There we go, nicely done. And you guys can do a ton more with the images if you so liked. All right, we have about 3-ish minutes. We're gonna close out at 27 here, so we have literally 3 minutes. But I would love to know if you guys, Damon says, don't forget to stop streaming like yesterday, Brent. Yes, thank you, Damon. We have, see, the Adobe gods and you all are keeping me in good shape here. This is why this is a team effort. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will say we have some amazing things this week. This was just day 1. If you guys just popped in a little bit late, definitely go check out and grab those starter files. You won't be sorry. And we have a lot more amazing things like this to just check out for the rest of the week. So I highly recommend you join us for the next 2 weeks. And I expect amazing things from all of us to put into the Discord, give feedback, and also grow. That's what we're here to do. So ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. We do have 2 minutes, but better safe than sorry. So ladies and gentlemen, I will see you on the next one. Do not forget to join in tomorrow, same time, same place. And don't forget to follow me on all the other channels. I'm here on Behance doing the same thing every Tuesday. But if you want to learn, just show up tomorrow. I'll be there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, peace out. See you on the next one. Bye.